if anybody is young and they want to know what's a dead giveaway of how they talk online, if we're talking about something and I look over and I just see someone talking into the void, just a completely random message that makes absolutely no sense, and they're literally just like talking to talk, that is a dead giveaway that you are young. I would also say if someone joins stream and starts spamming and adding me just to get my attention to read their chat message, and their chat message is just like, hi, and that's their only chat message, dead giveaway. How old is young? It doesn't matter. Guys, I'm a 31-year-old man. I think it's time that we all stop running away from reality. But to a four-dimensional being, there's no such thing as old, so is anyone even old in the first place? Yes. Like, I see what you're going for, philosophically, but if an argument can be broken down by you can severely break the law if you don't respect the social norms that we've constructed, that is age, then you probably should, I don't feel like that argument works. Now, like, I guess if you're going for the pure philosophical sense and you're like, okay, social norms aside and society aside, does age really even matter? I guess the answer is no. If you think about it in the grand scheme of things, we essentially are all the same age right now. Like in 500 years, when they look back on today's age, they're not going to say, oh, this person was born in the 90s and this person was born in the 2000s and this person was born in the 80s. They're going to say all those dumbasses back, 500 years ago. They're going to clump us all into one region, In the grand scheme of things, nothing matters. I actually agree with you. However, I'm still quite optimistic. You're walking into some dangerous territory there, Trev. Okay, first off, least argumentative, least I caught Twitch chatter, by the way. Second off, I'm helping you guys defend your opinions. I was the one that said, you're walking into dangerous territory, so you can't flip this back around on me. I'm helping you guys explain your opinions. I've already made my opinion clear. I'm merely having a conversation with you guys. In the grand scheme of things, if we didn't win World War II, oh, really? Obsidian Claymore, really? It would matter in the grand scheme of things? So you're telling me the nearest solar system to ours would be affected if we didn't win World War II. You're telling me that the trillions and trillions of stars out there with planets would be affected if we didn't win World War II. Really? Or are you saying that it would matter to us on Earth? Because then you're thinking a little bit too narrowly. When did this turn into a philosophy class? When I'm trying to weed out you young MFers. Anyone who needs to be listening to me and then have TikTok open at the same time, I'm trying to weed you out. I need people that can focus. That's what I need. I need people that can focus and have actual conversations instead of just asking, have you played this game? We're going one by one here, guys. Matter of fact, I'm canceling Subnautica 2. We are just going to sit here and talk about what actually matters in life. Why do you care about stuff outside of our planet? When did I say I cared about stuff outside of the planet? I did not say that I care about stuff outside the planet. I said, in the grand scheme of things, nothing we do here on Earth matters. And when I say that, I'm hoping you can infer I mean on a universal scale. The actions that we take here on Earth does not matter. And the fact that we think we're special, I think is a human evolutionary ego that we've all developed. Now, that being said, just because something doesn't matter on a universal scale does not mean that it doesn't matter on a personal level. And to be honest, I would rather spend the gift of life being happy and chasing purpose than doing anything else. So just because something doesn't matter on a universal scale does not mean it can't matter to you. And if something matters to you, then more power to you. Nothing matters, and what defines you as a person is how you act after this realization, despair, or freedom. Let me ask you guys a question. Who's a better person? Somebody who's a good person because their beliefs tell them to be? Or somebody who's a good person regardless of what they believe in, just because they want to be a good person? Depends if the person with beliefs feels forced to be a good person. Let's pretend that same person with the beliefs thinks that if they're not a good person, the rest of eternity will be condemned to hell for them. Now, I'm not calling out anybody in particular. Do you believe in aliens? Yes. I do believe in aliens, but at the same time, I don't think that we will ever discover evidence of intelligent life in my lifetime. But it's weird because I'm still optimistic and hopeful that before I die, we will see evidence that there is intelligent life out there. But I don't think it's going to happen. In other words, any intelligent life in the universe at all should nearly 100% likelihood to have greater brain mutations than us that led to intelligence. Hence, yes, they are smarter than us. How can you be so certain that alien life is smarter than us? Because here on Earth, it took us 3.5 billion years to evolve from single-celled organisms to what we are today. 3.5 billion years. That's like a quarter of the entire universe's lifetime. So if it took us that long, us in the Goldilocks zone, revolving around the sun in the Milky Way galaxy, if it took us that long to develop intelligent life, how can you be so certain that other aliens are instantly smarter than us immediately? And you know what? I'm not even necessarily upset at you bringing up that hypothetical. I'm more so upset about the confidence you seem to have that we are dumber than any other intelligent life on Earth. Because the mutations that made us smart are ridiculously small. They measured it versus dolphins and other intelligent species. It's like only one drop of water in a bucket that made us this smart. I'm not understanding your connection to why you think that automatically proves that any other intelligent life are smarter than us. We need Vsauce music? Oh, you're right. Hang on. Guys, aliens are not real. Trust me on that one. Or are they? You see, alien life is actually quite more common than you might think. Who's to say a spoonful or a cup is how much aliens are smarter? Who's to say they're smarter at all, though? I would consider, like, a fox. I would consider, like, a squirrel intelligent life. You know what I mean? Because if you really want to get down into it, guys, what is intelligent life at all? What makes us smarter than dolphins? Because I think I think porpoises have consciousness like us, right? They can recognize themselves in a mirror and recognize themselves as like their own entity. Is that what we're defining as intelligent life? Because ants, like, who's better at cleaning up some sugar? Ants or a sloth? Ability to talk, create, etc. Okay, so you're saying bats would be intelligent then? Or when you say talk, do you mean have the ability to communicate information that's been learned in previous generations? Because that's essentially why we talk. If the universe goes on for infinity, there could be dumb or smart aliens. Something about picturing a dumb alien in my head. I think they'll be smarter if we make contact because we've got a lot more to learn and can verify non-sapient life on other planets. And an alien that comes to us has to be pretty dang smart. Here's what you'd have to realize. If other intelligent life did in fact come to planet Earth, we would almost instantaneously know that they are able to somehow travel faster than light moves. So whether that be like artificially creating wormholes or somehow being able to move faster than light, we would almost instantaneously know that that's possible, and we just would have to figure out how. So anyone that has figured out to do that would undoubtedly be smarter than us, yes. An intelligent life form is generally defined by the capacity for abstract thought, reasoning, problem solving, and the ability... Bro, is this ChatGPT? And the ability to act with appropriate judgment. Key indicators include I'm not even going to finish that. Oh, it says, okay, I saw you cited it with Wikipedia. We're having conversations here. I'm not necessarily looking for the right answer. I'm looking for what you guys think is the answer. You know what? One of the best videos that I've ever seen showcases the difference between intelligence and learned intelligence is this right here, guys. They just hit the nail on the head. If you were to travel back in time 350 years, how smart would you be in comparison with everyone else? There's actually a really interesting way to find out. Back then, most people believed something that everyone today knows was wrong. But I'll introduce it to you from their perspective, and if you can think of a way that would have changed their minds, you'll know for sure you would have been way smarter than everybody. The thing we know today that they didn't is that sunlight is made up of all the different colors. Back then, it was widely considered to be pure white light sent to us from the heavens. Bunch of idiots. However, when a certain someone began experimenting with prisms, he made the discovery that led to what we know today. Now, the vast majority believed that the prism was somehow polluting the divine light with these colors. But Newton hypothesized they already existed in the sunlight, and the prism was simply revealing them, but he had to prove it. So the question is, how is it possible to show the prism is not polluting the sunlight, and it's simply revealing the colors that are already there? You already know this is right, but can you think of how to show it? How do you show it, guys? How do you show it? Could you have proved yourself to be a genius 350 years ago? Are you as smart as Isaac Newton? Ask ChatGPT 350 years ago, you'd ask ChatGPT, just think really hard. Yes, guys, yes. Good. All right, guys, let's see what the answer is. The first thing Newton did was create a slit. Now, why would this be beneficial? Well, his idea was to isolate a single color from the rest of the rainbow emitted from the first prism. He then planned to pass this isolated color through a second prism because he knew one of two outcomes would happen. If the first prism did, in fact, pollute the sunlight, then the light exiting from the second prism would be different from the light being sent in. However, if Newton's hypothesis was correct and the prism did not contaminate the sunlight, then the light exiting from the second prism would be identical
identical to the light being sent in. Pretty smart, huh? And what do you know? When we send isolated green light from the first prism through the second, we get the exact same green light back out. And we can do this with any color. Whatever isolated light we feed into the second prism is exactly the same light we get back out. And with this, Newton successfully showed his hypothesis to be correct when the masses believed he was wrong. If you enjoyed
The person that edited this video, I did not edit this video. Whoever edited this video was goated. I think I had to say like, hey, here's the ideas that I have for each of these sections, but he did a great job in making the video come to life. And I think, what is it? I think his name was Nervous Nick D. Kramer, I think was his name. This guy was so good. I love this story so much, specifically because it is such a simple solution that makes so much sense after you know it, but thinking of it, especially 350 years ago, being able to come up with that solution is so interesting to me. And it seems like a no-brainer when you hear it on the other side, but thinking of it is really difficult. Guys, can we just talk about something? Is anybody trying to be a content creator? And even if the answer is no, I'm going to talk to the people whose answers are yes. If anyone is even interested in becoming a content creator, can I just give you a little piece of advice on how to make videos? A tiny little piece of advice. Now, if you're thinking, who the hell is this guy to tell me advice? Well, I have 600 million views, at least 600 million views that I've made in shorts alone. And that's across actually just my 2 YouTube channels. 600 million. If you include my TikToks, it's probably more so like 750-ish. I wanted to tell that story because I thought that story was really interesting. And I thought that showing the story from everyone else's perspective back then would be interesting. But if I just started the short like that, no one would give a fuck. Not a single person would give a fuck about that story. Not one. So what do you have to do, guys? What do you have to do if you want to talk about something and you want people to care? You relate it to them. You make them care because you challenge their intellect. So how did I hook somebody? How did I hook however many people watch this short? How did I hook 2.7 million people into actually watching this entire story? I said, if you were traveled back in time 350 years, how smart would you be in comparison with everyone else? Bang! Instant hook. Everyone's like, wait a minute, how smart would I be? How smart would I be? I don't know. Now I'm kind of curious. And then I set up the hook of, I'm going to give you a super hard riddle that only the smartest person ever was able to solve, but you already know that it's true, but let's see if you can prove it. You know what I mean? That's how you hook people, guys. You figure out what you want to talk about, and then you figure out how you can make everybody interested in it. That you cannot tell the story just by saying, oh yeah, by the way, here's this fun story about Isaac Newton. Everyone's really interested, right? No, you have to make them interested. Here's what I will say. I am okay with the fact that I know I'm not very smart. Okay, I'm okay with that. I've come to terms with it. But I learn things very slowly. It takes me much longer to learn things than other people. But here's what I will say. If I know one thing, it's how to keep people motherfucking engaged when it comes to short form content. If I know one thing, it's how to at least tell a story and make content engaging to as many people as possible. If I know one thing. This Newton guy was pretty smart, huh? Yeah, I mean, he was all right.